condoms for Hamas.
I'm sure you're familiar with the saying, you can't make this shit up. That's basically the last 10 years with Fat Donnie and his traveling circus. There have been close to 40,000 documented lies from the man wearing a diaper and, of course, a pageant of weak men and women standing by his side. But this lie, it may be the funniest and most frightening yet.
Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on.
Okay, that's the new bimbo press secretary wearing her dead Jesus cross while she lies to a billion people. That's kind of a theme. But it gets better. Here's the First Lady taking that lie and injecting it with BS like only he can.
Big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse. In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that?
That's a good one. Now, I'm no military specialist, but I am curious as to how you turn a condom into something that goes boom. Do you put the C4 into the condom and hope somebody wears it? That would be my greatest nightmare. I used to have one in my wallet when I was 16. I kept it there, not in case I got laid, which never happened, but in case the Russians invaded. I'd be ready. Has he used 6 condoms or only 5? But this is just getting started. Apparently, the U.S. does spend money on contraception for certain parts of the world like Africa, mostly to slow the spread of HIV. But the U.S. has spent exactly 0 on condoms for Gaza, not the 50 million Trump says. And a USAID report confirms that none of the 60 million in U.S.-funded contraceptives last year went anywhere near Gaza. In fact, no condoms were sent to the Middle East. It's also worth noting this is not just a Biden program. Trump, too, spent funds on sending rubbers around the globe. In 2019, Trump spent $40 million on contraceptives. Okay, here's where it gets frightening. Remember DOGE, that bizarre-sounding acronym, which is the Department of Government Efficiency, led by this freak show, Elon Musk? Elon! Well, when Katie with the cross held her press conference, she pooped a little bit out of her mouth that Elon was busy saving the U.S. millions.
Again, the past 4 years, we've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors. It's a big reason we've had an inflation crisis in this country.
God, if stupid was a disease, she might be ground zero. Worldwide inflation started under the First Lady when we threw $1 trillion into the economy. And when the world opened up, everyone started spending and buying. The pandemic caused supply chain issues that limited the availability of some goods and services. This, combined with increased demand, led to higher prices. And Biden dropped it dramatically. Now, eggs are $11 a dozen right now because of the bird flu. But if Trump passes these tariffs, it'll make the pandemic look like a bake sale. All right, let's get back to Katie with the cross.
This administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration.
I'm sorry to interrupt again, but the reason why Americans are paying more in taxes is because Trump lowered the corporate tax rate from 35 to 21%. And that costs us trillions in revenue.
What is this?
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization, sir?
Ooh, that's a big one.
During this pause, Doge and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda.
God, is she stupid. We stand on the precipice of a bird flu pandemic, and Trump withdraws from an organization that is actively communicating to keep people safe and save lives.
Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza.
All right, enough for her. But here's the part that gives you insight as to what happens when trillionaires run your government. Remember when Musk said he would take the guardrails off X so anybody could say whatever they wanted? And that community notes, that is people and groups could respond to the veracity of dubious claims? Well, Robert Mackey, a reporter for The Guardian, posted this, saying what I just told you, that Biden didn't send a dime to Hamas. And a community note appeared backing his claims that Doge didn't find anything of the sort. And then someone at X made it, poof, disappear.
One thing I can promise you this, I will always tell you the truth.
The Washington Post and other fact checkers have found that Donald Trump tells more lies and falsehoods than any president in either party in history. The count is over 20,000.
I promise you, I will not be taking very long vacations if I take them at all.
President Trump has spent nearly a third of his days in office visiting one of his own vacation properties.
But I'm not going to be playing much golf, believe me. If I win this, I'm not going to be playing much golf. We're going to save the coal industry. We're going to save that coal industry. Believe me, we're going to save it.
I promise that under a Trump administration, the law will be applied fairly, equally, and without prejudice.
He tear-gassed peaceful protesters. He pardoned all his criminal buddies.
Here's the thing. When Trump used to lie from 2016 to 2020, before all of the stolen election lies, there were some semi-responsible people around him. Kelly, Mattis, Milley, Tillerson, and even to a lesser degree, Lindsey Graham and Nikki Haley.
I think he's a kook. I think he's uninformed.
Here's why I'm with Trump.
Well, don't you love me?
There is no way that the American people are going to vote for a convicted criminal. They're not.
So I will be voting for Trump.
But Trump learned his lesson. Now he's surrounded by people like Hegseth, Noam, Dairy Queen.
We've already warmed 1 degree Celsius, and do you know what's happened since then? Here, let me tell you. We have had more food grown since then, which feeds people. We are able to, producing fossil fuels keeps people's houses warm in the winter. That saves people's lives. People die in the cold.
Right.
This earth warming and carbon is actually healthy for us. It helps us to feed people. It helps keep people alive. It helps. The earth is more green than it was years and years ago, and that's because of the earth warming. That's because of carbon.
And Kash Patel.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops.
We're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
And add that to the menu of cuckold eunuchs licking his feet and a couple trillionaires promising to attack his opponents, and you get this.
Would you rather have 4 years of Donald Trump as a dictator or 4 years of President Biden reelected?
You know, you don't have to like the words that come out of the man's mouth, but sometimes in life we all need a good paddling from the principal.
And this perfect cocktail of ignorant, weak, spineless sycophants around the country shows you everything we feared might just come true.
I want to be a dictator.
So no, we didn't send condoms to Hamas, and they didn't use them to blow stuff up. I just wish Donnie's dad had strapped one on.
Goddamn right.
This is not a normal election.
Whether the women like it or not.
Suck my fat one.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yeah. They're eating the dogs.
You're an idiot!
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.